as these characters tend to sort of spiral into more and more of a morally gray area, does it ever become difficult to maintain a grip on who you feel the character is?
Well, no. I mean, I think that's who the characters are. Is that they go into some morally gray areas. I mean, I think that's what makes them interesting. I think if you come in and you're only a good guy from beginning to end, it's I think some people are really good at doing that, but I don't think that's really a strong suit for either one of us. And I think the opportunity to explore the conflict between trying to do the right thing, being in law enforcement, and trying to be on the good side, but not necessarily approaching it in either the most logical or morally correct way is the thing we both get to play. That's part of what makes it fun.
I also feel like it would be next to impossible. Like, I don't understand the psychology of someone that can have sort of the violence that has been inflicted on Ryan and Ryan's life or Mike's life and not have the reactions these guys have. I think that you would have to be almost dead inside to not react the way that these men have, with the sort of trauma they've gone through. So to me, it would be the natural instinct. It's probably how I would react. I'm not saying I would run around and hunt people down, but I certainly would want to.
Can you talk a little bit about Ryan's new family, and does it mean that he's moved on from Claire?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of last season, the final episode, there was a very important scene where I said, "Look, I'd like to come with you," and she says, "Listen, this is not a good idea. You know, in your heart of hearts, it's not a good idea. We have a relationship that's based on trauma and came out of something very, very strange, which is I was, the wife of a serial killer, and I think he hears her in that." Is she always going to be deep down the love of his life? I think that kind of remains to be seen. But I do think that he's trying to make good on the promises that he made to Joe Carroll, which was, "I'm done with this. I'm done with this obsession. I'm going to go to a place now where I'm going to let other people into my life, and I'm going to find a life that doesn't involve you." And that's part of what has happened. That's part of why he's been able to let this woman into his life, this new woman into his life.
And Jennifer was talking about the reboot, which obviously involves, in particular for Ryan, the new relationship. She seemed to be implying that we'll see him be happy for a while, which is obviously something we haven't seen before.
Right.
I mean, that's going to be a very different season for you to play. Yes. Happy Ryan.
I'll have to have my teeth whitened.
Big smiles.
Big smiles all around.
Sleep with a coat hanging in your mouth.
Yeah.
How do you feel about such a kind of dramatic emotional shift for him?
Oh yeah, I feel good about it. I tell you, we discussed it going into the second season.
Right. Yes, because
a similar. It was for a minute. It was a similar kind of idea that was talked about, without going into too much detail of maybe domesticity or whatever. And I was very, very resistant to it. I was like, no, this is not a guy who would be there. It just felt like it was too soon I don't know what the scope was. I didn't know we were going to get a third season, but for whatever reason, I didn't feel like he was there yet. That he would still be someone that was essentially on his own, essentially kind of an island. Tried to let Max in this year, and I guess it's like with Ryan, it's like steps. He's getting a little bit closer to being a happy person.
Your character is going to have some romance now. Finally, that relationship is blossomed. Can you tell us a little more about
I think it's going to be really nice. I mean, I've been saying all weekend that I don't think that the Max and Mike relationship will be an easy relationship. Just based on what these guys do, and also how their relationship started. I still feel like in some way, Max has witnessed Mike nearly beating, Luke to death with his bare hands, murdering Lily Gray in cold blood. So I think that there's going to be some issues there. There's going to be some things to work through. But, and I think that revenge is still bubbling underneath with Mike, but I think that I think that my character will want to grasp onto that something good, that love that is there, the light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully, think what will be interesting is watching that struggle. You know, which side of the fence is he going to be on when push comes to shove? So I think it'll be interesting to sort of explore that and see where it goes. But I like that there's going to be that element to this season.
And the other talk about the reboot was that it's going to be more suspenseful, kind of psychological drama rather than amount of violence. I mean, is that in any way a reaction to people really listen to audiences, or is it levels of feeling slightly uncomfortable with levels of violence? I mean, where does that come from in the show?
Well, we're not the writers, but I would say that it's, you kind of look at the scope of it and you say, what felt like it was working and what felt like it wasn't. I don't feel, like there need to issue any apologies for anything, but I think that, certainly when you go back, and Jennifer was really into looking at the first season, and while it's violent, and our show will be violent, there's no doubt about it, it's also, creepy, scary, who's behind, who's part of this and who isn't. And, that's the thing I think that maybe she's a little more tapped into this.
The unknown.
We're going to have to wrap them. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys.
I'll see you soon.